Capricorn, welcome to your Celtic Cross reading. I hope you're well. I hope you're fabulous. We are back and the comments are open once more. If you'd like to know what all the hoopla was around that, feel free to check out the opening of the mid-month, where I address all that. But it's good to get back to our standard channel, but with greater, well, I suppose, procedures in place. Now having a moderator to weed out all the nonsense, for which it was sometimes fantastical. But hey, perfect. But we did what we needed to do. Yes, I know you can appreciate that. But we're feeling good. I hope that you are too. Celtic Cross, yes, I love it. It's old school tarot. It can afford us a little bit of everything. A piece here, a piece there. I don't know. I often say it's kind of like sharing tapas. It's a little bit of everything. It can also be a cohesive element. True. That happens as well. But I never know. And it's always good. Sometimes it's nice to have those direct energy placements, as you'll see as we go along. Like always, the basic rules of tarot apply. At least they do on this channel. Take what resonates, leave it does not. Just because it says Capricorn in the title doesn't mean it's for you. Yeah, there you go. That's very, very normal. Very rarely does a collective reading resonate 100%. Very rarely is it 0%. Most people find themselves somewhere in the middle. However, 0% indeed does happen sometimes. Yes, in which case check your other placements or I'll catch you on the next one. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. If you find that the message is increasingly making you uncomfortable or it's just not for you, cool. That's normal too. What I want you to do, separate yourself, pause it, get back to it later, or just don't watch it. That's fine, guys. I'm not about that. I'm all about the free will, and it either helps you or it doesn't. That's it. All right, what's going on, please? Show me that Capricorn energy. What's going on for Capricorn? Show me Capricorn. I do hope you enjoyed your full moon. Glorious. It's called so many things too. It's called, I believe it's called the buck moon. It was July. Yeah, well, it was around there somewhere. It was July 2nd or 3rd. Capricorn moon, the buck moon, and it's also called something else. I can't remember. I don't recall. But it was the first supermoon, I believe, of the year. Powerful it was indeed. Many things shifted around it, yeah? There you go. What's going on, please? Show me. Show me that Capricorn Collective. 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 You know, I just realized it might be a bit blue. That's all right. Blue's a good color. All right. What's going on, please? Show me that Capricorn energy. What's going on? Okay. Let's put down your baseline. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Yep. I think that's where this was headed. Yep. You'll be all right in the end. It may not seem that way. I know it. So let's go over that baseline real quick. Your opening energy, Two of Wands. A little bit of delay here. Decision making. So don't get me wrong, Two of Wands is active decision making. Two of Swords, passive. I'm not even acknowledging that I have a decision to make. Two of Pentacles, one of my most hated. I hate it. I'm not saying it doesn't have a purpose, but I hate it. So I don't know how to give to this. Wishy-washy, in and out, blah, blah, blah. Two of Wands at least admits there's a decision to make, even if it's taken a minute. Cool. So I respect that. What's crossing and challenging, Eight of Wands. You're like, I don't know what to make toward this. What is this? You don't know what the communication. You're like, this is what I waited for. And you might have a return in that. I don't know if I need to say anything about this at all. The contemplation is that you have received some communication, or there is expectation of communication surrounding you, and you're delaying it. It's like you're either waiting for it, or what you received is not satisfactory, up to par, or you don't know how your response should be. We're going to take a deeper look at that communication because it seems to have kicked off a whole hive of activity, despite what looks like the simplicity of it. Surrounding it seems to be some major issues. So I'm not trying to laugh at it. It's just the simplicity of the opening. Two of Wands. Okay, there might be some challenge around the communication. So how the heck did it lead up to all that? So what's hovering around you is the Seven of Swords, as I often have to clarify. Okay. Seven of Swords is not a judgment call on my part, guys. That card existed before I was born, and it's going to continue to exist. There is no pretty way to address the Seven of Swords or the Five of Swords, so please do not take anything I'm saying as a judgment to you. It is the cards. So hovering around you is the Seven of Swords. I don't want to acknowledge it. I don't want to deal with it. I'm just going to leave it alone. And that's kind of with you right now. In your response, how you're taking it, how you're going to deal with it is to not deal with it at all. I don't want to. Avoidance, sidestep it. I'm not going to think about it. What's trying to exit here is the Five of Wands. We want an argument to be over, a frustrating element within us, outside of us, a little bit of both. We shall see. But there's something here about the frustration, the kickback, the blah, 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 blah. Okay, the arguing. We want it to stop. We want it to fade out. So in a way, that could be in that respect of I refuse to participate because I don't want to make a difficult situation any worse. Or it's like, again, it's your way of saying I give up. I'm not going to participate at all. What's relevant to your past? King of Cups, big energy. Big, beautiful, bold heart, right? Fullness of cup. Love of self, love of others. These are my feelings. I own them. Be whatever they are. Point is, I'm mature enough to say this is what I feel, and I know it. I accept it. That's the benefit of having a King and Queen of Cups. They're emotionally mature. Regardless of where their feelings are, they know that they're true. Okay, and they don't deny them. They accept them. Your immediate future. Ten of Swords, like, I'm done with this shit. Tried to avoid conflict. Careful with our words. Trying to understand what somebody else was saying. Not trying to make things worse. There's some things I just don't want to deal with, or something else somebody else doesn't want to deal with. I don't know. That Seven of Swords is very interesting. And then the Ten of Swords is like, it's done. And it hurts. And it fucking hurts. It looks so simple, doesn't it? Let's fast forward a little bit. In your strengths, Emperor, standing in your power, taking charge. Very good. Queen of Cups, your environment. Again. It's like you remember what it's like to be in tune with your heart in the past, and it's looking like you're headed back into that direction again in the future. Your heart will settle down into a good place once more, or it's kind of like it will remember itself once more, and that's a good thing. That's a beautiful thing. Nine of Wands, hopes and fears. You will have to continue to fight something off. There's always going to be a repetitive behavior problem. You're always going to be frustrated, or that you're always going to have to block something. Because sometimes, you know, I hope I have the strength of will to always kind of stand up for myself or to fight that good fight. The fear that you're always going to have to around the same problem. We'll see. Something to do with the blockage. I can't tell if it's a good thing, something's going in or not, in or out. We'll see. The outcome is the Sun, happiest card in the deck. That's good. That's good news, yeah? So hopefully we're discovering or rediscovering our heart space in its natural places. Some of you might have some very strong water aspects in your chart, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, because you're telling me you're used to having a full heart. You were telling me that you are used to being able to speak into your emotions. And for this situation, they became increasingly frustrated and shut down. And I see you going back into that lovely state of grace with that Queen of Cups. So, getting back and reacquainted with the fullness of your heart, that's a beautiful thing, especially after all the frustration. Possible arguing. I love that. The Nine of Wands is interesting. It's like, am I going to have to keep dealing with this shit? Is this always going to be a thing? I don't think so. I hope not. I hope not. With the Sun, as you're being your outcome, that's not a bad thing. So I do see you taking charge of the situation. I do, in time. You'll see how that plays out, but it's looking so far like it's playing out in your favor. And you had to get through some pain to get there, but you're finding resolution, I believe, and solution. Resolution, solution, all that good stuff. Let's get cracking. Let's see what it's like. We're waiting, and we're waiting, and we're waiting. And this communication is like, God, that communication kicked off a lot. Or the failure to communicate kicked off a lot. Let's take a look. Show me that Two of Wands, please. It's like, I'm waiting. It was active. It was active waiting. You were expecting something. Currently. Show me that Two of Wands, please. Show me that Two of Wands. Show me that Two of Wands. Show me the Two of Wands. Show me that Two of Wands. Show me that Two of Wands. There's one more. There's one more. There's one more. I feel it. Show me. If you watch the mid-month, you've heard me introduce the concept of the short shuffle for Sunday. I am excited about that, and I hope that you are too. Temperance, 5 of Cups, Page of Pentacles. We're waiting for what seemed like a healing thing. But we're heartbroken nonetheless. Sadness. You had the expectation of more, didn't you? What you received or what you gave to someone was not done well. Okay. I see you waiting though. Waiting to receive more. There's an expectation here to receive more. Expectations can hurt, you know. They can. It's one thing when you have reasonable expectations. And then you're disappointed. And it's another thing to have unreasonable expectations. I don't know which ones yours were. But you seem to have, like I'm waiting, with what seemed like a reasonable expectation, because I do see communication crossing this. Some form of contact between you and somebody that suggests we can work things out. And disappointed, grievously so, by the results. The lack of input that was authentic wasn't enough to be constructed with the Page of Pentacles. So, I don't know if you got hurt with your own expectations or someone genuinely, truly disappointed you. Because yes, we can. In fact, the number one reason people are hurt as much as we are is because we get hurt by our own expectations. That is a real thing, and no one likes to hear it. No one likes to hear it, but that doesn't make it any less true. So I don't know what this is to you. Let's take a look at the Eight of Wands. But you really were, but the output that you got was so little in return. That Page of Pentacles. The desire to heal, the pain was real, genuine. But the feedback, very small. The actual effort it takes. I gotta see this communication. Show me this Eight of Wands. Threw everything off. Show me this. Show me this Eight of Wands, please. Show me this Eight of Wands. Eight of Cups, yeah, Two of Pentacles, Six of Swords. Yeah. Honey, I have this feeling that you were waiting for some sort of results to indicate from somebody else that they were invested. And you got hurt by the response. Their response was no, I'm not in it. And if that's true, let them walk. Okay? They're not emotionally invested. They weren't prepared to give anything to this that was real or substantial. I don't know how honest or blunt they were about it, but I just know it was enough to affect you. They said Six of Swords, I've left this. I have nothing to give to this. I'm not emotionally attached to it or invested in it. And it really kind of dashed what hopes you had to try to repair it. And I don't know why there's so much grievous energy attached to it, but it's someone whom I believe you've known for a long time. Okay, Five of Cups typically has past orientation. It might have been someone that you were trying to reestablish communication lines with in order to fix things with, to heal with, and they weren't taking it. They weren't taking it. They weren't taking it. They're like, I've moved on. Something. Again, it does not have to be a relationship. We have to get outside that box. This could be family, friend, something. Anything. Former, I should say, friend. And someone who has very much chosen to go their own way. They're kind of blunt about it too. They're just not there. They choose not to be. You know, I think what they gave you was at first some sort of effort that looked like a willingness to talk or to parlay, if you will. But just because they listened doesn't mean that they wanted to follow through with an action plan. So I don't know why at all, but there was some sort of conversation here, and it was disappointing. The results were disappointing. I believe you put forward a case of, I'm waiting on communication from you. I put something forward that suggested you and I can heal things. You know, I'm sad by this. Can we work out our stuff, work out our differences? I believe we can. Give it time and patience. And the other person said, no, I moved on. I've been moved on. They might have talked a little bit back and forth, but for the most part, their energy, they themselves said that they ultimately weren't interested. And it hurt. It hurt. It hurt to hear that. Let's see that Seven of Swords. That Seven of Swords that's hovering. Show me that Seven of Swords, please. Not trying to deal with it. Okay, sneak away. Show me that Seven of Swords. Show me that Seven of Swords. Show me that Seven of Swords, please. It's very interesting. Knight of Cups, Page of Wands. I see the Chariot. Okay. So you actively withdrew. Okay. You actively withdrew your instinct or whatever it is you might have experienced to be vulnerable or to openly aim your best intentions at this person again. You withdrew them almost immediately. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, that's just practical, isn't it? You know? If someone says they can't even, communicate with you, because you can't control anyone. If they said that they can't or they won't, believe them, right? We don't want to force it. We don't want anyone to run contrary to their free will. If they said, I can't even talk to you, I have nothing to give to this, I heard what you had to say, but I personally can't be in it, I've moved on, this is in the past, you immediately withdrew any sort of emotional construct you might have had towards this person or this situation, be it romantic or otherwise. I do know that you were prepared to aim your chariot in that direction. In other words, the best of your intensity. Not just your intensity, but the best of your heart and your heart's interest in what it is it wants to do. You were willing to open up a little bit on the vulnerable side. You were willing to open up romantically for some of you, not all of you. And you were willing to move your energy forward in that direction. You withdrew it almost immediately. And again, that makes sense. So if somebody openly, and that's kind of blunt too. Damn, that was blunt. But yeah, right, would make sense then. It would make sense then. I just don't want you to feel embarrassed, and I don't want you to feel ashamed about it. You did what you could to put forward some sort of potential investment in healing something with somebody. Something that still caused you pain and grief. That's probably why. Maybe not for them so much as for you. And that's a beautiful thing. That's an honorable thing. And I have to say this all the time. You can only hold yourself accountable for your actions. You don't know how someone else is going to react, and you just gave us a perfect example of that. You don't know how someone else is going to react, and you can't force them to react in a way that says, this is what you wanted. People have to act in their best interest. You acted in yours, they acted in theirs. Call it quits. Okay? You did what was right for you. They didn't pick up the ball. That was what's right for them. And even if you might believe that it wasn't, it still was. Okay? Because if they wanted to, they'd be there participating. But they chose not to. They opted out. So I saw this, and this is so very you. I see that heart space of yours willing to soften up and pop out for them. And then you immediately retracted, and it makes perfect sense to me. It does. Yeah. Why would you continue to open up heart space to someone who's like, nah, I'm good. Right? I get it. I do want to I hope you move your vehicle and your vulnerability forward outside of the situation. And show that emotional love to yourself and put your best investment and interest back into you, regardless of the situation. I can see that in the recent past, you had a very full heart as the King of Cups, and you'll get back to it. You have to trust that particular process, honey. Some of you, by the way, might have some very strong Sag and or Cancer in your chart, or this happened very, very recently. Okay, now that we are in Cancer season, excuse me. Show me that King of Cups, please. Show me that King of Cups, please, in the relevant past. Yes, you will have to excuse my lisp. Sometimes it gets in the way. All right, show me that King of Cups, please, in the relevant past. Justice, Four of Swords, Three of Pentacles. Yeah, I mean, it was very sincere, honey. It was very sincere. It was beautiful. It was sincere. I like it. I got it. I got where you were coming from. And that doesn't take away from you. Please keep that in mind. This does not keep, you still have a lovely fullness of heart in you. You have good intentions here. What you meant to do was very, very true. I want to heal and work things out with you as a friend, but I want to work things out with you and heal with you as a friend, but coming from the best heart space in me. I love myself and I love you too. I do. I have love for you as a friend. Truly, genuinely, I do. I need you to know that about me. That's my that's what you're telling me. My motivation to fix this, to heal this, to work something out with you constructively was because it's coming from a good place in me, and I wouldn't have done it unless I had love for this situation. What say you? Do you want to work things out with me? And it came from some of the best places in you that are cohesive and balanced, and you look like a Capricorn who operates from your heart space, which is very different. I like it because I understand it. I don't do anything unless I have a feeling attached to it. You know, that's just me. A lot of people approach from the pentacle. Does this practically make sense? Somebody might approach from the sword. Does this intellectually make sense? So on and so forth. Fire signs, you know, if it doesn't light me up, turn me on, or drive a passion in me, I'm not going to do it. Same thing with water sources. So some of you have very strong water in your chart because this is a very water MO pattern right here because I feel it's correct. This is what I'm going to do. And many of you simply stated, look, I feel honestly I can heal things and balance things. Do you want to construct in that same space with me? Because it's coming from the best place in me. So when I say I love myself and I love you in this situation, that's what that means. And we might be friends, but that doesn't mean we can't love and respect each other from a place of friendship, true friendship. And that's all you meant to do. You meant to harmonize the situation. It's looking like it was very relevant to the very recent relevance, you know? So I get that. That immediately explains the withdrawal, right? Somebody gave you feedback that was half and half. You had communication coming in, and there was a response, but they were emotionally checked out. They're emotionally checked out. They had already kind of mentally, it's like they just didn't have the space to give this the thought that it deserved. And they didn't have the space to give this the emotional presence that it deserved. They're saying they didn't really know how to contribute to this mentally or emotionally. And if that's true, then believe them. You know, it's like I'm talking to you and I'm saying something, but not enough for you to work with, to take me or my response seriously. What were you supposed to do? You know, so again, this is the operations of free will. You can't have it both ways. I'm going to talk to you and try to give you something, but not really mean it. Because then you get the I don't really mean it results. And were you going to put up with that, honey? Were you going to put up with that? Were you going to put up with that when your intentions were real? Okay. So I am sorry that you received such a poor response, but that's not the point. The response, Capricorn, is not the point. The point is you did what was right for you. They did what was right for them. You did what was right from you. And it was coming from a real, authentic place in you. And that's all I care about. That's all I care about. That's all that matters. Because it's you who wins in the end. When you honor yourself and your intentions and your actions, and even if you're not met with cooperation from whoever else, it's not the point. The point is you. You did what you needed to do for you. And let that give you peace and solace. Okay? They didn't need that for them. Okay, fine. I see they talked to you and they tried to do something, but their mind wasn't in it, Six of Swords, and the heart wasn't in it with the Eight of Cups. It was insincere, whatever it was. It wasn't fully present. It wasn't owning. So if someone was really checked out on every conceivable level, you have your answer. You have your answer. That's it. Yeah, I get it. In this respect, I'm sorry, I have too much. That's the only King and Queen of Cups. We have so much emotional pride. So this actually makes a lot of sense to me. With Seven of Swords, immediately withdraw. Your vulnerability, immediately withdraw that heart space because it's a pride thing. It's a self-preservation thing. It's like, I withdraw that. Never mind. Right? So I don't want you to feel bad about it. Please. I see often Seven of Swords and the Five of Swords in the ugliest ways and in the ugliest positions. Yours actually makes sense from an emotional standpoint. It did. It does. If you withdrew it and it makes you feel uncomfortable that you ever put it out there, please don't do that. I see where you were coming from, and you honored thyself, and it was brilliant. That'll give you, trust me, that'll strengthen you in future. Okay? Five of Wands, that particular tension's on the exit now. Nothing there to fight for, right? Exit. Five of Wands. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Show me that Five of Wands, please. Show me that Five of Wands. Show me that Five of Wands. Oh, yes. This above all. To thine own self be true. Shakespeare. So, while it seems like that's the smallest thing and it kind of embarrasses you a little bit, don't. That small thing, I promise you, tells me who you are. Don't forget that. It tells me who you are. I'm not saying that you didn't do your bit. Page of Cups. I know. I got it. Done. Okay, got it. And the tension's gone, by the way. So this is trying to exit the frustration, and it wasn't just you. Somebody here could not. I'm sorry. I already know who it is, and it ain't you. It ain't you. Not that I can tell, because again, your irrelevant past told me who you are. Yeah. Over here, the tension is gone. The frustration is gone. The fighting is gone. What do I mean to this other person is gone. Okay? Somebody could not, I'm sorry, they could not raise their heart level beyond an option. And even then it was an option that was continuously blocked. It was fuzzy, confusing, and undefined. Okay? Somebody's heart chakra was not open. It was perpetually blocked. And it caused frustration at the highest level between you two. The willingness to open up, to share one's feelings, to be vulnerable, to explore them at all, was perpetually blocked. So that frustration is on the exit. Okay? When this person declined, the frustration died with it, or it's trying to die. It is. Ten of Swords. Let's just, yes, we're switching. Okay, show me that Ten of Swords. I like to switch about halfway through, keep the energy fresh. And I also don't like to play the run out game. Eventually you run out of cards in the deck. So it doesn't make sense. It's best to refresh about halfway through. Show me that Ten of Swords, please. Show me that Ten of Swords. Show me that Ten of Swords. Show me that Ten of Swords. I'm not saying it weren't painful. Of course it was painful. Show me that Ten of Swords. You know, that kind of frustration comes from not understanding your heart. It's too surface. The unwillingness to understand one's feelings. I see, again, a reflection of you, the willingness to be vulnerable and to move with sincerity of heart in that particular direction, to be open to it once more. And then Seven of Swords, almost embarrassed, right? Almost embarrassed about doing that. I don't want you to do that, please. I know where it was coming from. Again, it was honorable. That frustration of getting this person to open up to you on the emotional level and all the baggage that came with it, the frustration, the blockage, the waiting, it's all done now. Okay. Show me that Ten of Swords, please. Show me that Ten of Swords. Okay, the Magician. Ace of Pentacles. Okay, Judgment. Yes, it was a, yeah. I can't disagree with that. That makes perfect sense to me. Judgment, Ace of Pentacles, the Magician over the Ten of Swords. We had to learn the hard way to stop manifesting, to stop trying to make an offer, no matter how genuine it was. Ace of Pentacles, Judgment. It was our lesson. The pain wasn't worth the offer. Okay. And I know we were manifesting a very strong something towards this, whatever that is. You know, just bringing it into a sharper place of reality, I think, with that Ace of Pentacles, making it more realistic. And Judgment was a lesson in here, you know, that not all manifestations come through. And in fact, if your manifestation starts to hurt you, is what you really, really want, what you really, really want. You know, I don't know. It's very confusing. You watch enough tarot, you hear enough shit that seems to contradict each other. I get it. There's so many layers. It's emotionally difficult, intellectually difficult, spiritually difficult. You'll probably hear, you need to know what you want. Okay, if you're going to, and that's typically true. If you're going to manifest, you have to know that you want it. Parts of you that are love-oriented towards this knew you wanted to manifest it from the heart. I saw that. You were willing to put your heart back out on the line for this person if it meant real reconstructive efforts in friendship. Cool. But there are parts of you that are not spiritually aligned to this. Okay. Having to wait for such shitty, low-level, incomprehensive, incomplete input. The other person is pretty much telling you, I'm not really in it, I'm not really in it, I'm not really in it. And you were kind of like, well, what parts of you are in it so I know what I can work with, right? That's when you had feedback that your manifestation isn't correct. When you have to try to work that hard for somebody else's bits and pieces, it's the manifestation's not really for you, as strongly as you might feel towards it. So while you might have known what you wanted and manifested, when you started getting feedback over and over again that this particular manifestation, how it keeps showing up, however long, I don't know how long, is causing you harm, then that means it's not a good manifestation. Not that your spirit was wrong or your love for this person was wrong. It's just that it's not for you. And however long it takes us to learn that lesson, judgment is however long it takes to hurt us. But it's like the manifestation is not worth the pain. The expectation in being met with disappointment and waiting, inconsistency and incongruencies is not worth the pain. Okay? So generally speaking, the rule is, you want to manifest, you got to know what you're manifesting. But did you really know what you were manifesting? That kind of begs, this is just me going off topic here. Did you really know what you were manifesting? Because by all rights, their energy suggests that they're not really interested. How well did you know this person, really? Because baby, I got news for you. They wouldn't have made you work. Your intentions are beautiful, but what you were giving back was resistance, resistance, resistance. And it's almost like you're asking this person, what parts of you can I work with? You know, what parts of you can I work with? Is that good enough? The answer is no. It's rhetorical. Of course the answer is no. And I can tell you after a while, your manifestation started to hurt quite a bit. Judgment, relinquishing this, understanding that as much as you might have tried to put into it, as real as it was for you, it was not real for someone else. As far as I can tell, they resisted being there at all. Emotionally, physically, mentally. There are parts of them that were intrigued, don't get me wrong. There are parts of them that tried to show up, but not really with any sort of depth, flavor, intention. Intention is really missing in this person. I'm not sure what they got out of this, but their lack of intention is very apparent. And they block the development of their own feelings. So how well did you know what you were manifesting? What you thought you wanted from this? What you thought you were getting from them? The expectation of what you thought you would get from them? Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. But I have to maintain, I don't think you're a bad person, honey. You might have been persistent. You might have waited too long in folly, but nevertheless, I see who you are. If they couldn't, baby, if they couldn't even work with you in the name of love for friendship, do you really want to manifest somebody who can't even do that? For love of our friendship, let's heal. You know, it's like a, yeah, that's unfortunate. Okay, the Emperor, let's fast forward. Your strengths. Willing to stand in your power, yes? We must all do from time to time is to be as the Emperor, yes? Show me the Emperor, please. Some strong Aries in your chart, not the point, but people like it when I call out the signs. So far we have Aries, Libra, Cancer. Okay, what do we got here? Okay, the Moon. Okay. Page of Pentacles and the Tower. Yeah. You started. Okay, I'm actually happy to see this. I know it sounds scary, but you really took charge of your self-learning phase, which is great. I know you had to learn some things the hard way. It's interesting. Taurus showing me something now in present day. You're showing me that you've done this already and that you're kind of caught up. You're telling me that you had to slowly digest some uncomfortable truths. And that made you kind of put you into a place of shock about what you were doing, why you were doing it, what your focus was, what your intentions were. Really kind of taking command of your moon energy, putting more of yourself into it to understand it, you know, specifically about why we allow these things to happen, how to prevent it, how to continue to stay standing in your power, okay, to not allow yourself to fall prey to this again or fall folly to this again. And it was a slow investment, but it was always leading up to this, cumulative speaking, okay. You know, if you've ever had a change jar in your house, it starts out as this jar with some coins in it. And time passes, and you put stuff in it, you don't really notice, you don't pay attention to it. And then you turn around one day and you see, oh my God, that thing's full. It's full. That's kind of like what that energy's like in your strengths, which are magnificent strengths. You've been slowly filling up that change jar of strengths for a while, contributing to it here and there, piece by piece, pentacle by pentacle, about who you are, who you really are, what it is you're able to do, the things you will accept and the things you will not accept. You are getting back into that space. I don't think you're discovering it so much as you're getting back into that space. Okay. And I think this helped put you there. Okay. Back into a place of remembrance about what's right for you and what isn't. And that it's like you're turning around now and you're seeing that your jar is pretty damn full and that it probably always was. That's good. It's good. Like I said, the strength and honor of who you are is here quite a bit. And when it came to this situation, you got peanuts, low-level interaction, low-level interactions, low-level communications, and you got low-level emotional responses. And you're like, what parts of you can I work with? Now, the Emperor doesn't really work with parts, does he? He's used to working with whole armies. Okay. And the King of Cups is used to expressing his heart space to those who should deserve it. Okay. All right. Queen of Cups is your environment. You are really getting back in touch with that love for yourself. Okay. You know, and you're starting to see how much change is in that jar and probably was always there and you lost sight of it. And it adds up to quite a bit. Show me that Queen of Cups, please. Show me that Queen of Cups. You know, loving yourself once more. Kind of letting down your emotional hair again once more. Show me that Queen of Cups, please. Show me that Queen of Cups. Show me that Queen of Cups. Four of Swords. You've been doing some healing. And, okay, so you're getting this stuff outside of you. Good. So you're not keeping it to yourself. That's great news. I like that, actually. So you are doing a lot of healing about your communication. You're looking specifically at your... This is great. I like this a lot. So 4 of Swords, 8 of Wands, 5 of Swords over that Queen of Cups. I told you were getting back into your heart space. Okay? Getting back more to who you are. And stop trying to accommodate your energy towards someone who isn't like that at all. So here we are healing our communication and where all the sabotage has been. This is what I said to them. This is what they were saying to me. This is what I was allowing myself to believe, even though the communication was here this whole time. Perhaps I just didn't want to see it that way. Perhaps I wanted to see it from my own particular point of view, and it kind of kept me going in that particular direction. So this is great, and you're talking about it, I believe, to other people. You're not just keeping it to yourself. Really kind of analyzing the communication pattern that you had with this person that seems to have been rather problematic. On the surface, it looks so simple. 2 of Wands, 8 of Wands. Communications in the challenge. We see how, now that you're looking back at it retrospectively, in the future it's coming up, how fragmented that communication always was. How self-sabotaging it always was. What you were saying and what you were allowing yourself to hear back. Okay. How we kind of set ourselves up for emotional failure with this person. And they played a part too, but our focus is you today, not them, okay? How we allowed ourselves to participate in it, and you're learning. You're learning from the heart. And you're seeing that now, okay? You're seeing that, and that's a good thing. It's a hard lesson, but it's still a good one. And the idea is like I'll never, you know, if I'm not speaking from the heart, I never will, and I will not allow myself to receive communication actions from other people who are less than sincere. You know, they can't be honest with their thoughts and their actions and their feelings, or they're always blocked. I'm going to see it for what it is. I'm not going to tell myself otherwise, and I'm not going to set myself up for false pretenses or false expectations, right? I'm going to see through that bullshit. Because when you're accepting a Five of Swords, okay, Eight of Wands from someone else, because you really, really love them, or you really, really care about them, you have as much responsibility in that as they do. Okay? It's like, I know you're saying this, and it's not exactly what I want to hear, but I'm going to kind of fill in the blanks for you because it's what I need, even though I know it's not true. That's how we allow ourselves to get caught up in that kind of crap. Okay? You know, I don't know if it's outward lies, but it's more like allowing ourselves to accept the illusion that there was something more in that communication, that there was a real sense of operating in that communication, that there was real love and intention in that. Five of Swords doesn't have to run that deep. Okay. It can be, this is what I need to hear or believe in order to keep my heart space for this going. And that can go for a while, but it's looking like the communication was always kind of set up to fail between you two. Somebody's this closed, blocked off, but they're still engaging in you. You can't help but think there's got to be something there, right? There's got to be something there. There's got to be something. Why else are they talking to me unless there's something there? And there is something there. There is, because you're right. There is something there. Point is that they wouldn't allow themselves to discover it or develop it. So you're right, there is something there, and that contributed to the Five of Swords as well. There's got to be something there. There's got to be something there. But thing is, it's not supposed to be a guessing game, you know. So I can't say I blame you for immediately withdrawing. Your willingness to express yourself and be vulnerable to this, it's like the trust got cut or hurt, or you're like, no, this was just stupid. I really did try, and you did. But again, if the communication was always damaged from the beginning, where two people were communicating constantly through Five of Swords or whatever, and someone's not willing to be clean and talk honestly, like I believe you were, of course you were going to have to withdraw. Anyway, keeping on. Oh, Nine of Wands. Guess where I saw that? Over here on the exit. Some of that Nine of Wands, please. Hopes and fears. Some of that Nine of Wands, please. Some of that Nine of Wands. Will you always have to be defensive? Will you always have to connect with people who have a hard time accessing their feelings, specifically allowing them to develop or allowing themselves to even acknowledge that they were there? Will that blockage ever come down? Some of this Nine of Wands, some of this Nine of Wands, some of this is frustrating. And obviously you're going to have some residual anger in there. Yeah, of course. It's just way too much waiting in between communication. When you did receive it, it was always lopsided. Okay, the Hanged Man perspective on the Five of Cups. Okay. So yeah, we're just learning a lot about our communication. Okay. And the blockage, Hanged Man, Five of Cups, the pain, it's all tying back to the situation. Three of Wands, we're frustrated, we're angry with ourselves by how much we waited. Everything we needed to know was here this whole time. I agree. But you are trying to suspend your pain for it. I believe you're trying to get perspective on that pain, that Five of Cups, that disappointment, where it came from. Okay. How you participated in it, how you received it. You really attribute a lot of your frustration to the waiting. Okay. It was here, it was always here, I just refused to see it that way. That added to the frustration. And there's a part of you that's convinced, rightfully so, which we've already discussed, that they do have feelings, and that's the reason they hung around or tried to engage with you at all. Yes, the answer is correct, but it just, again, it added to your frustration that you didn't know what they were. So again, did you really know what you were manifesting with this person, this situation? Because the Capricorn I'm looking at says, typically, you're not like this. And I believe you. So yeah, in fact, You know, I can't remember. If you have some Aquarius in your chart, I think it was Aquarius, check out their last one. I think I literally called their video, This Tower's at Your Leisure. Learning things that were hard, but yes, bit by bit, piece by piece. You know, there's some things about you and your particular tower that you're learning, relearning, and reestablishing. But the more important point is that you're getting back into a place of empowerment about it. So I know that you are terribly frustrated, and I would dare say pissed. Pissed not so much with them as with you. Because again, it's kind of like the admission is, everything's here that I needed to know. Why did it take me so long to see it? Yes. And I really thought that there was something here. Yes, there was. But we've already discussed why you were frustrated with it. Because you never knew. It was never defined because they won't define it. They won't define it because they won't look at it. They won't look at it because they refuse to feel it. So again, it's that part's not your fault. All right? But yeah, I think it's a good idea to suspend your pain, okay, with the Five of Cups. I really want you to challenge yourself to look at that. Perhaps see it not so much as time lost or regret spent in that state, okay? But you don't have to feel quite so much of it. You don't have to feel quite so much of it. You know, it's getting easier to not feel that pain. Frustrated parts of you, yeah. I can see where you're going to be frustrated, but you don't have to give so much to that emotional pain anymore. Especially since your King, Queen of Cups self is trying to reemerge, along with your Emperor. No, you'll feel the pain of it less and less. It's the frustration you still feel kind of acutely. Particularly in that sense of I allowed myself to wait for this. Okay. So while the pain's easing up, yeah, part of you's still angry. But it has more to do, again, with the anger that you feel for the situation as opposed to them. Okay? Again, that situation's over. I don't know why I'm saying it so profoundly today, but I am saying it profoundly today. Some of you, it might be terribly fresh, or something that you've just been processing and processing and processing for, who knows, weeks, months. Hopefully not years, but, you know. Show me the sun, please, is the outcome. Show me the sun, please. Show me that sun, please, is the outcome. Come on, happiest card in the deck, Capricorn. Let's go. Let's see it. Let's do it. Show me that sun, please. Four Cups, the disappointment. King of Swords, the Six of Swords. You have determined that in order to be happy, you have to make the decision to move on and to mean it. You cannot allow yourself to succumb to the Four of Cups, which is very, very tempting. If you're new to the channel, all right, and even if you're not, you might not have heard me say it, but you know, I say it fairly often, but still. Four of Cups, I call it the emotional jerk circle. When you start with one part of the circle, it just comes back looping around on itself. In other words, we get stuck in this emotional state of unhappiness, and we want to blame it on other people. We don't really want to look at ourselves. This is why I'm upset or unhappy, and I understand that, but it's kind of like there's no room for that to breathe, to break the circuit, to do anything different. So it's an emotional jerk circle. Once you start feeding or nursing, I should say, Four Cups, it's very hard to break that. We don't want to stay there. That low level sense of detachment, lethargy, and happiness. You don't either. So I see a very determined Capricorn to have made up your mind to do your own Six of Swords and to move on, to find your sun, because you're not happy. You're not happy continuing to think about this anymore. Okay? So while you have done a tremendous job of alleviating your sense of sadness and regret and pain, all right, you yourself are looking to become personally satisfied once more. All right? So not to just feel better about this particular situation, but more to the point, to feel better about you, because you do need to move on. I agree with you. I do. For some of you, it's literally a trip. relocation, but others of you simply determination with the King of Swords. I've made up my mind. I got to move on from this. I don't want to be unhappy anymore. 4 Cups. I need to find whatever that sun is. So that's for many of you. It's upcoming, or it's taking place now over the height of summer with the sun. And I get it. You still got some frustration in you that you're working through. I get that. But please know that your fullness of heart is coming back. Okay? Stronger than it was. So too is your Emperor. You'll get it sorted in time. And with that kind of strong will, King of Swords, 6 of Swords, I've made up my mind. I'm determined. I got to move on. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I'm kind of done with this. Good. And I call it the emotional jerk circle. I cannot believe how many people want to stay in that 4 Cups. You know? People who are perpetually dissatisfied, and they don't see it as a them problem. They see it as anything else but them. And you get stuck in it. And I hate that. I hate seeing people stuck in the 4 Cups. Because it's like we're unhappy, but we can't admit it. It's their fault, but it's not mine. Forgetting that we are, in fact, the common denominator in all of our situations. So by all means, we're going to feel it 4 Cups from time to time. I just don't want you to stay there. I don't think you do either. It's okay if you feel a little aggro. Is that what the kids say? Aggravated? Or aggravated, or whatever. I think they call it aggro. Frustrated. Okay. You know. It's alright. That's alright. Try to think of it as not time lost, but as lessons learned. And that will help ease a lot of what you're feeling. Right? I think everybody finds themselves in a situation where they're waiting and they know they're waiting, and it's all for naught, but we can't tell ourselves that because we waited so long. So if we throw in the towel, we have officially lost all that time. So it's hard for us as humans to admit that. So what do? We wait some more and just reinforce the problem, when instead we could have broken that problem a long time ago, stopped investing our time, stopped investing in waiting. Right? And I think that's what messes with people when they finally break free. Then they find themselves still pissed off that they waited so long. And it's like we can't just get a break from ourselves, right? I think it's enough, honey, to admit to yourself what the situation was and how the communication was or skewed or off balance the whole time from the very beginning of your two's situation. It was always off. It was never fully honest. What was going to happen? We're going to sit around and wait for somebody's truth when we can't even openly communicate honestly with each other. You tried to play softball with them to see what parts of them would come forward and work, and it just wasn't going to work because they didn't want to. They weren't prepared to. So no matter how much you waited or played softball with your feelings and thoughts with this person because you didn't want to overwhelm or stress them out, it still ended up the same way. You know? That's what I'm saying. You don't ever wait on anybody. And I know when you're in it, it doesn't... I know, baby. When you're in it, it doesn't feel like you're waiting. I know. But you are. If it didn't sync up right away, well, frankly, just made sense between two people in the same place at the same time, that's how you know. If you're finding you're having to tell yourself little white lies to justify this, that, or the other, or little white lies on their behalf for this, that, and the other, you know. If you're finding yourself having to wait a little too long to talk to that person, email, text, phone call, blah, to blah, or to see them in real life, you know. If it seems like this person can't ever be forthright with what they're really thinking, intentions, or feelings are, then you know. You don't have to lie to yourself. You can cut it off before this shit gets started. And, I'm happy to see you're sailing off into your sunrise, not your sunset, but into your sunrise. That's better. Sometimes you just gotta suspend the negativity and try to set your unresolved aggression aside and just tell yourself to move forward. Because I think you've done quite a bit of feeling. I think you've done quite a bit of comprehensive reflection about what went wrong, or how it was always wrong from the beginning, etc. I think you've done enough of that. I think you're doing well in your own power, getting reacquainted with your own power and actually who you really are. maybe we do need that determination to just move forward, because you can only think about shit so much and you can only feel about things so much. Okay? The aggravation, it's already on the exit, so let that finish out. When you catch yourself in that moment where you think back on it and you cringe a little bit, just let it pass through, let it go. Don't get attached to the moment. Don't relive the memory. Don't entertain it. Just let it pass. Acknowledge it, let it pass. Yes, I did that. Yes, I said that. Yes, they did that. Yes, they said that. I acknowledge you. Get the hell out of my thought now. See what I'm saying? We don't want to deny or suppress or oppress. We want it to pass through, but we don't want to indulge it. People who indulge in the negativity over and over again is how they get stuck in the 4 cups. Okay? And then we ruminate and we ruminate and we ruminate and we ruminate, and that's why it's an emotional jerk circle. Okay? So, let it pass through, move on. I think you've thought enough. I think you felt enough. I'm not saying shut down your thoughts or feelings. I'm saying you can turn that particular dial down. Okay? And allow other things to pass into your life. You do seem to be set upon a course of discovery of new happiness. Like I said, you're sailing into a sunrise, not a sunset. And I want you to keep heading that direction. This is an open time frame. I'm not trying to peg it down with timelines. I'm going to stop doing that for the Celtic Cross. It's not helpful. This is more bigger picture concepts, okay? Where are we on time? Oh, a bit more than I thought. Okay. Ay, ay, ay. I know. I know it. I know it. I was just about to say, it was on, oh God, Capricorn, I was dropping and I was just about to say, I want you to be proud of yourself. I kid you not, I was just about to say that. I want you to be proud of yourself, because when you did try to heal this, you were being very authentic here. You weren't excusing your emotions or theirs. You did genuinely try to put yourself forward. And I was like, that's what I was just about to say. I want you to be proud of yourself. This is the last quarter moon in Taurus. I want you to be proud of yourself, because you did what you felt was right for you. And it was meant with non-committal, wishy-washy, not really committing verbally or otherwise. In fact, they're not even there. Saying they'll do something, but they don't really mean it. That was not you. So I want you to stop putting so much emotional and mental pressure on yourself. Okay? Determined to move forward in your happiness, you got it. Keep on keeping on. That's enough. Put in the comments that are now back open. As you see fit, I will see you in approximately 2 weeks for your next reading. I do hope this helps you. Do be proud of yourself. When you are authentic, you are authentic. I honestly think, if I were to summarize this whole thing, I honestly think you dumbed yourself down. Real talk. I think you dumbed yourself down emotionally, spiritually, and intellectually to try to appease an energy that would not be appeased. Okay? They didn't know what they wanted, but they were still doing something. So again, you were like, what parts of you work? They didn't. All add up their parts all together. It didn't work. Not for you. Not for the situation. That's enough. Okay. Take care. Be well.